guys, welcome back to the Shrimp Corner. So it's going to be a little bit noisy before we start off. This is a working fish room that I'm in. I'm in the green room, as you guys can see. And I said that I was going to do a upload on my DIY brine shrimp hatchery. As you guys can see, there's one right over here. So I mentioned this on the Facebook group, so you guys can follow the Facebook group of the Shrimp Corner. I will put the links down below. I highly suggest that you do that if you haven't found the group yet, as you can find lots of other people that have similar interests to you and share their fish and shrimp stories, photographs, things like that. So you can definitely get lots of knowledge and meet new people through the group as well. So I highly encourage anyone who's not joined the Facebook group to do so. Anyway, let's move on and talk about this brine shrimp hatchery right here. Now, as you guys can see, I've got one right there, and it's on a very low simmer, a very low bubble at the moment. And I've done that because it's going to be extremely loud once I put it up. So I just did that so you guys can just sort of get the idea of what it kind of looks like as a working hatchery. Now, we're going to talk about how I've DIY'd it. Now, as you guys can see over here, there's basically a mount that it comes with. Now, this mount is designed to sit inside a tank, but I've obviously decided to wall mount it, which is a DIY part of this video, so that don't come wall mounted. As you can see, the entire unit itself, which is a nice long tubular unit, which I quite like, and I love that it's see-through because you can see everything, which is fantastic. So the transparency here is just perfect. But as you can see, it's got a nice base, and this is where the tube comes out of. So this is where you're going to be harvesting your brine shrimp from. It has a nice little lid up here with ventilation holes on the top. And it's very easy to use, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a minute and how to set it up. And I'm going to put it up here so you can see the comparison. But as for the DIY part, which is what I said I would show you guys, now I'll put images into the bottom corner of this upload. But like I said, you can see the unit here. I've mounted two on the same kind of level. I'm thinking of also getting a third one just here. And this was very easy to do, guys. This was super easy. Now, obviously, you're going to need a power drill to drill in the screw, which you can see right here. Now, I don't think that it doesn't really bother me to have this here. You don't really see it. Obviously, when it's full, you don't see it. And then when you're taking out to wash the container and then put it back in for your next cycle, you don't really notice it. So this does not bother me. I would say, though, now if you can see, there it is, you want to try and screw it pretty much flush with this backing of the plastic. You don't want to push it in too much, because what it's going to do is it's going to compact this plastic. Now, this isn't super strong plastic, so it is, you know, it's durable, but it's obviously not strong enough to not withhold a screw going through. So it is plastic at the end of the day. But they're very sturdy, as you can see. This is me putting quite a bit of pressure onto it, and it doesn't really move. Now, you can obviously leave it a bit loose if you want to rotate this. Now you can see it kind of rotates. I can't fully rotate it now because there's one here, and I don't really intend to, but if you wanted to, for whatever reason, you could leave it a little bit more loose and rotate it. Now I'll just show you guys quickly how to mount it. Now, as you can see, the lid just comes off like that. There you go, you can see right down the middle. Now this has just been washed. Obviously it's a little bit cloudy because it's been used a few times. And I will show you guys also, I've got down here what I use. So I've got some pink Himalayan natural salt. You can see right there. I have got my brine shrimp, which is the Morning Sunrise Artemia Cysts. I've used a different brand as well, but I can talk about that in another upload. If you guys do want to see a series of this, where you see me showing you how to feed brine shrimp and comparing different brine shrimp that you can purchase and maybe what's better, which one has a better hatch rate, please leave a like and a comment down below, and I will do that if there's enough interest in it. And then we've also got, as you can see, my little teaspoon measuring thing here, and of course my little jug. So that's going to be our collection container. You can use whatever you want, but that's basically the stuff that you'll need for your actual brine shrimp to get going. And then you've obviously got your hatchery right here. Now, I was going to talk to you guys about the differences between this hatchery, for example, and let's say there's this brine shrimp hatchery, or even a DIY where you can use it out of like a recycled Coke bottle or a plastic soda bottle, basically. Again, I'll put images down below of examples of these. Now, I did thorough research on the brine shrimp hatchery. I even did my own DIY bottle kind of situation, and it didn't work very well. The pros and cons, I think, between something like this little unit and let's say the DIY home method, and let's say there's this brine shrimp hatchery, which is a very popular top of the market brine shrimp hatchery. Now, the first common thing is the fact that this is in fact the smallest container you can purchase. I mean, unless you can obviously make a, let's say, 300 ml, 600 ml version with a small bottle, but I don't think you could really do a smaller version than that. It would just not be viable. So this is actually, the capacity is 380 mils, which is full. So you're really getting about, let's say, 300 something. Now my actual container, which you'll see when I remove, and you can see it's not full because you have to allow for bubbles and aeration as well. So you can see this is a 250 mil. So this is how much I end up harvesting from this container. So I get about 250 mils of pure golden joy. Now, what you want to see, like, sort of go downward, and then what you would do is you'd use a light like this, or a light source, because the brine shrimp are attracted to the light. And so essentially you want something with a cylinder tube, or that's basically going downward, or has the ability to do so. Second thing is size, of course, and I'm going to say durability. So this obviously has been mounted, which you can see right here. Now it's quite durable, and I'm going to mount this real quick for you guys just to show you. So it's pretty durable. It fits perfectly and snug in here. You just give it a little push, and there you go. And that's it. And then it simply just pops out like that. It's very easy. Nothing gets moved. Obviously, if you wanted to not screw something into a wall, you could try and use like a command strip at the back and try and do that. But you're also going to be, remember, you're going to be having a little bit of force to pull it out. Even though, again, it's not that difficult. You're not jolting it and ripping it and anything like that. You're simply popping it out of the cusp right here. So I would say for durability, this hatchery so far is really great. Not to mention, as you can see the base right here, you can see this little like line right there. It actually comes apart, and the reason for that, I'll go back to the mount. Now this mount is designed, as I said, to fit inside a tank. Now something similar to this. Now this is just an egg hatcher, but basically what it would do, it would clip on like this. It actually comes with some suction cups. I've removed them obviously to mount it. And you would clip it into your tank, and you would remove the base, and underneath is obviously just the air line, and you would just have it running with the air line. Now the benefits of having it in your tank, and the reason they've done that, especially adding this spout, now you would have this just above the water line for the oxygenation, just air, and then you would have this bubbling from the bottom, and the air would be traveling up through the bottom tube into this and bubbling it up just like that. Now this is again on a low simmer, but that's what it would do. And you would get the benefits of having the heat in the tank, because it would be heated, of course. So you would use it in your tank and basically hatch a better rate, I think, because of that heat, and there's no, internal heat source. Now again, this could be seen as a con, as the Zis brine shrimp hatchery, for example, has an attachment to actually put a heater inside the hatchery itself. But then again, that could pose problems. It could be a bit fiddly, and so I think that this is perfectly fine, and that's why they've designed it to be able to fit in your tank. Now if you didn't have room in a tank and you just wanted to let it sit somewhere or mount it like I have, then basically what you would need to do to have a successful hatch is have at least ambient room temperature. Now as you can see, I've got a permanent light and heat source that is hitting the hatcheries. Now this is on all the time, 24/7, to provide a little bit of extra heat. Now obviously the biggest reasons for you not to have a successful hatch rate are heat. You have to have heat, salt content in your water, either too much salt or not enough salt, or using the wrong salt, and of course your brine shrimp themselves. Now you've got to get brine shrimp that have at least a 90% hatch rate. Again, I can talk about this further in another detailed video. So basically, this is the brine shrimp hatchery. Now as you can see, I've popped it back on, and you can see it's ready to go. I've run both of them parallel with the lines running down, and I use the jug to basically get the hatch out. Now you're going to run this for about 18 to 36 hours. Now again, that's going to depend highly on what the temperature around is. Now I use the heat source of a lamp, of course, and again the water as well. Now I'm lucky to have a tank right here, as you guys can see. Now the water here, if you can have a little look, is 26.7, so it's nice and toasty. So I start off and giving it a little boost, and I've noticed a difference between using straight cold water and using warm to hot water. You can use hot water, it's not going to kill the brine shrimp. Don't use boiling water though, of course that would be a problem, but you can in fact use warm to hot water to start off and give it a boost, and that's what you want. You want to sort of keep that ambient temperature within the cylinder container. Now if you start off using hot water and also have an ambient temperature of at least 20 degrees in your room, it should be fine. You don't need to blast the heat quite high, but you can, if you want, put it a little bit higher if you're using a source of heating. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, I want to again go back to the pros and cons. Now, there's this brine shrimp hatchery, which is one of the best on the market, and I was going to get that hatchery, but I didn't get it because I simply didn't need at the time the capacity. Now, that was a 2-liter capacity. Obviously, if you buy a, let's say, 1.2-liter bottle of Coke, now you're going to cut that in half, say, so you're going to get like roughly 500 to 600 mils out of that bottle, depending on the levels of water you're using. So both of those hatcheries, again, this would be a con if you want to look at it that way, because both of those hatcheries have a higher capacity. But again, though, that depends on your use. Now, if you only have a few tanks and a few, types of fish that you want to feed this to, you don't need to have a massive, big range product like that. Again, that's 2 liters, so you're going to have a lot of brine shrimp. Now, this little container is only 380 mils. Again, the smallest of all of them. However, you get quite a decent amount of brine out of this. Now, I'll show you some footage later at the end of this, and you'll see that I get to feed all of my tanks with one hatch. Now, I have 13 tanks, you guys. It's a lot, and it's the adults as well. Everybody loves brine shrimp, and I think the babies really enjoy it, especially because I've tried the regular brine shrimp that is not live, and the live baby brine seem to just be better. Again, back to the pros of this unit. Now, it's very small. As you can see, it's very sleek. It's wall mountable with a very simple DIY method. You simply get the backing over here, you drill a little tiny hole, a little bit smaller than the screw you're going to use. You push the screw through, again, obviously you drill the screw through into the wall cavity, and then you would simply have it stabilized. Now, again, you don't want to push it too far in because this is going to impact too much, and then you don't want to crack this trying to pull it out. But you can feel the tension and resistance, and obviously you have this to test it out. It's pretty self-explanatory, and it's pretty easy to do. It took me all of 5 minutes to drill a hole through and put it up. So it's awesome, and as you can see, it looks really great. Nice, neat, compact, and clean is the most important thing. This is very easy to clean. You simply run water through the top. As you can see, this little top comes off very easily. You can pop it on, pop it back off. You just would run water through the top down the cylinder, and it can come out of this tube. Now, as you can see, this tube has a fitting right here, which is where the brine come out of. And I can show you, obviously you guys will see the footage of me harvesting the brine shrimp. So basically, you would open this valve and you'd let the water run through clear until it goes completely clear by the end of this part of the tube. You don't want to get anything stuck here. If you really wanted to, though, be super thorough, you can even pop the bottom of this off. You can take this valve off and you can just rinse the tubes through really thoroughly. I don't bother because the water just goes through and it rinses out with quite a lot of pressure. So it goes really well. Like, again, it's a little bit cloudy, but that's because it's been used a lot of times, and I'm not super thorough with cleaning. I don't think you need to be if you're going to be using it on a daily basis, which I am. I have 2 because I want to use them on a rotation. Now, again, remember I said an 18 to 36 hour period. Now, your fish are going to want to eat every single day, and if you have baby fish, some people feed them 3 to 4 times a day if you want to really protein pack them and grow them up really nice and healthy straight away. Now, you can imagine that's a lot of feed, so you're going to have a lot of these units running potentially. So again, a con is if you have too many tanks, or if you have a lot of fry to feed, or if you're feeding numerous times a day, I would suggest a bigger unit than this. This is good for someone who has 1 to 2 feeds a day, and you can buy a couple of these units and just mount them up like this or keep them anywhere. They're very small and compact. Again, as you can see, my system, it's nice and clean. Now, the pro of this being such a compact unit is the fact that, again, besides the fact that you can mount them nice and close together and they look really great, obviously, even by themselves without being mounted, they look really great. I think the unit itself is like quite a nice look and build. Besides that is you can obviously get multiple and save that space. I think that that's also a really good thing. The fact is that you can just basically fill them up with water, and you can use a majority and then add some water to prolong the hatch rate a little bit longer, so you can do multiple feeds from just one hatchery. So if you can imagine, you could get 2 feeds per day from this one, then the next day you'd harvest 2 feeds of that one, then the next day, and you'd go back and forth and back and forth. And so having just 2 is perfectly fine. Again, I have 13 tanks and I have quite a lot of fry that I feed numerous times a day, so I do the 2 feeds per day. But sometimes if it's really busy, I might do 1 feed per day, but then you're just going to get extra brine shrimp. So 2 units is more than enough. If you have maybe a couple of tanks, maybe under 5, 1 unit is going to be perfectly fine. Having something with 2 liters is just going to be excessive, and it's going to be a lot to manage, not to mention it's a big bulky unit. Having the DIY soda bottle method, for example, also can be rough around the edges, and it's just not as easy, I would say, to clean when it's not smooth, and you can have sharp edges and cut yourself on it and stuff like that. Also, it obviously doesn't look as pretty as this, so the pro would be on this for the unit itself. I personally really love this unit. I think it's nice, sleek, compact, easy to use, easy to clean, easy to harvest as well, super simple. You have an airline tube that it comes with, you have your valve right here, you connect the airline tube to the pump, you run it through here, it pushes air up and it bubbles it up here. You simply lift off your lid and you fill it up, and then when you're ready, you just tighten this so that the bubbles stop, pull out the airline, and then you harvest just like that. It's super simple. And I will show you guys at the end of the upload. Like I said, I'll put some footage up of me harvesting and feeding my fish. But now I'm just going to show you guys again how to fill it up and set it up real quick. But like I said, the mounting is really great. I really like it. You don't have to do this, but it is pretty simple to do, and it looks, like I said, quite neat on here. I really love this unit. I think it's really great. At the moment it's serving me quite well. I have my little chambers that I use. Like I said, I might even get another one just because I like the way they look. So I think that the pros definitely outweigh the cons compared to other hatcheries. So like I said, you're only going to get about 380 mils, but that is more than sufficient for a couple to a mid-range amount of tanks, depending how many you have to feed. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to set up the hatchery very quickly and get a hatch going. So I can show you just how quick and easy it is to get a hatch. Now this is about a teaspoon. Now there are recommended limits. Now this container, like I said, you're not going to obviously put in as much as you would in a 2-liter bottle or this hatchery. So this is 1 teaspoon. So I'm going to put in 1. Now you can comfortably do 1. I like to do 1.5 or maybe 2 sometimes. So I'm going to do just a little bit more because I like a nice big hatch. So that way, when I use half of it and I put more water in, you still got quite a lot of brine shrimp in there. So they won't suffocate or be too crowded because you're going to add in that secondary amount of water. Now, if you were just going to harvest this as is, you could still do that, but you'd probably want to harvest it all in one go. If not, it's perfectly fine to do that as well. It really does not make a difference. I've put 2 teaspoons in here in this small container, if you can imagine. I've done it with 1. This is with 1. This is what it looks like, and that's going to be with 2. Now you can do both. It's really not going to make a difference. You just don't want to overcrowd things. Sometimes, depending on the amount of water, if you were to put less water than this, you can see I've put it pretty much at the top. If you were to put it, let's say around here, you got to imagine this is not enough capacity to have this many brine. Now it looks very small, you can see at the top, but if you can imagine, this is thousands and thousands of baby brine shrimp here. Now we're going to go down here. We're getting our salt again. Now we're going to go with 1. There it goes. And we're going to go with, let's say 1.5. Let's do that. So we'll do another, so 1.5 teaspoons for this unit of hatching salt, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of brine shrimp. My water obviously is already in there. Now I'm going to show you guys how to pop the lid on, just like that. You'll hear a little bit of a click. And there you go, it's on. 2 seconds, very quick. Now I'm just going to connect the airline, which you see down here. So you can see the airline has now been connected. So the air is passing through here, and once you turn this valve, it's going to push up to here and pop up the air. So we're going to do that right now. Now make sure, this is something that I've messed up with. When you do rinse the unit, make sure you close this valve after pulling out the air, because if you don't, water will just run straight through, and I have done it before. So we're going to turn the airline on, and as you can see, there it goes. And now you have your brine shrimp ready to go. This will do this for about 18, like I said, to 36 hours. And then you will get something that looks, so you can tell the difference. That's more orange, that's more brown. And when they're nice and bright and orange, it's ready to harvest. You turn the airline off simply by turning the valve, your airline stays off. You would then put a light source on it at the bottom, and you would wait a couple of minutes for all the brine to go down, and you will see them moving down. And then once you've got everything at the bottom, you would keep this tightened and closed, you would push off the airline again, and then you would harvest your brine shrimp and repeat the process just like that. It's very easy, very simple. Like I said, I really love this unit. So let me know what you guys think. Also, I forgot to mention that this is very, very cheap. And I say mid-range because obviously having a soda bottle is free pretty much. You're recycling something that you've already purchased. So that's, let's say, a free method, not including any other things you may have to get, like the valve or the airline tubing or anything like that. You still have to have that. Now, this would be in the middle of that, but it's extremely cheap. I got this unit off wish.com. You can probably find them on eBay. I don't think they have a specific name, but they're imported, I think, from China, but they're extremely cheap. Now, the Ziss brine shrimp hatchery, again, you're getting that super big capacity. It's a bit bulky. It's a bulky unit. It's a bit complicated. And if you don't have that many tanks to feed, maybe you don't need to take up that much space. Not to mention, it's got about an $80 to $100 price tag here in Australia. So it's quite an expensive unit. You could literally get probably 7 of these for the price of one Ziss brine shrimp hatchery, which is another reason why I got this. Now, you can see it's very easy to use. It's an awesome little unit, and I would definitely suggest this if you're looking for something that's more budget conscious and you don't want to have too much space taken up. Like I said, this looks fantastic. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. I really like it. So this is a brine shrimp you guys could definitely consider to help you feed your baby fish. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this upload. I tried to cover as much as I could. I might have forgot something, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want me to do a series on the brine shrimp, what type of brine shrimp to buy, etc., because I've done some extensive research on this before I settled with this unit, please leave a like and a comment down below. I'll see you guys over on the Facebook group. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, enjoy the B-roll. See you guys later.